So, is the leader of the gangster disciples getting out of jail? Don't move too fast, people. It is a question that is coming up, but it's saying he still has 200 more years. Good evening, I am Friendshot Pearson. Welcome to Friendshot Blue. It is May 28th of 2025. I have 9:35 in the PM, and yes, I did another live, talk show style. We will do a few more, and then we'll get it in a sequence somehow. We'll figure it out and try to have Bible study maybe mid-Sunday on the afternoon. Let me know what you think. But people, I'm here in Chi-Town. I'm here in Chicago. And Larry Hoover is big in Chicago because he's from Chicago. Leader of the gangster disciples. I have taught you guys before, I've told you guys, informed you guys, I grew up around these gangs. The gangster disciples, the Peace Stone Nations, the Pygmies, you name it. There's about 4 or 5 gangs in my neighborhood. It was Notorious B.I.G. in the 70s. And it was a hell of a time to grow up in. You guys probably remember Fluky Stokes back in the day. Google it, Fluky Stokes. Just a rough city, people. No place to raise a child. If it's the south side and west side of Chicago, I'm gonna keep it real. And as black young kids, thank God for church, thank God for the YMCA, thank God for community block clubs, thank God for my mama having the presence of mind and send me to my grandmama's house in the suburbs, away from the gangs in Chicago. Just people, you know. Let me before I do this decode. Let me say this. This was the worst time, yet the best time for black people growing up. We had a lot of positive people, motivated people, athletes, entertainers, some positive, well-meaning civil rights leaders. However, I believe the powers cherry-picked certain civil rights leaders, and they gave them a plateau, so to speak, gave them a voice, and people ran to them as opposed to running to the guys and girls who were really, really about the growth of the black people. It doesn't mean that some of the black leaders that did get prominence weren't on board with growing blacks, but a lot of those organizations were compromised and blacks did not grow. I'm just keeping it real. It's just one of the worst situations I ever witnessed. And what I can say is about the black gangs, people, the powers, they dumped drugs in my neighborhood. They dropped arms, and you know what, just arms and everything they could in our neighborhood. We don't have access to those things back in the day, okay? But those things were dropped off in alleys, and we fought each other, disciples against the Stones, against the gangsters, and it was a very bad time. And the powers did this not just so we could hurt each other in that generation, but for generations to come. And I told you guys in a live video a few weeks ago that there was a brief truce for a while. Even Larry Hoover was instrumental in a gang truce, because he even came to realize at a point it doesn't make no sense to be gang banging just because you might not like a person because of your ideology or the way you wear your hat or the neighborhood you come from. We all black. That's his quote. I'm not making it up. That's his quote. People, I lived this reality. It was terrible. It was terrible. This was a defining moment in the black community, a turning point where a lot of black kids got killed. They got put in jail, in prison. They died. They got beat the hell up. It was bad. It was bad. And I thank God that my mom moved me and my brother out of that area. I lived on 8358 South Ellis. I played baseball, thought I could play professional baseball. I had a major injury, which kept me from playing professionally, but I thought that'd be my claim to fame, but I digress. It was the West, it was the worst and best of times. And the powers created options in terms of gangs and drugs and instability, and a lot of black folks lapped it up, and the killing was endless. It was terrible. We knew the gangbangers, we knew what was going on, but a lot of them did a lot of positive things. Don't get me wrong. They would feed people. They would fight for certain needs. They would try to talk to the alderman and protest the mayor. A lot of the gangs, they had a good head on their shoulder, but the powers, they got in that thing, and it's still crippling black neighborhoods till today. And this is why I push for strong families. Instead of having a lot of kids and you don't know who your daddy is or he barely come around. People, like they say in the rap music, the love that they see most of is from the gangs as opposed to home. So please stop having all these bastard children, because the gangs, the streets are gonna eat them up. Any gang member who's older will tell you, do something with your life, because this gang thing is death, it's jail, it's being wounded. You're gonna be at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of employment because you didn't get the proper education. It's just a tragedy. And it not only affected us in the 60s and the 70s, it still affected us now. Now let's get on with the story, because I want to show you what I think is really going on. Donald Trump commuted the sentence of former gang leader Larry Hoover, gangster disciples. I don't know if he's going to get out. They say he's not going to get out. A lot of people thought he was going to get out. I've done so many video checks since I did my live this evening, and some people think he's going to get out in a week. I don't know. But the bottom line, this man has spent, I think, about, 50 years so far in jail? Yeah, I think he went in there when he was 19. He's 74 now, so it's rough. Let me get on with this, and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Out of prison. Erica Joe, legal experts see this as a potential hollow victory. Now, while Hoover may be released from federal prison, he still has a 200-year state sentence for which a parole board has already denied early release. In 1993, Hoover spoke to former CBS News Chicago reporter John Davis, and at that time, Hoover was 42 years old and had already served 20 years in prison.
I've done my time. I paid my debt to society.
That was Larry Hoover, more than 3 decades ago. At that time, the leader of the Gangster Disciples and convicted murderer told our John Davis he had a lot of time to think about ways to stop the gang violence on the streets of Chicago.
One teenager don't like the other teenager because of the way he wears his hat, because his ideology is different from his. A disciple don't like a vice lord. We all black people. There's no difference.
At that time, Hoover, also known as King Larry, admitted being part of a fragile gang truce in this.
So people, you notice they said 200 years, another 200 years. People, I'm gonna do this video, and you might not agree with it, but I see the symbology in it, and I think it cuts both ways, because there's another Hoover in the past. Yes, there's a president named Herbert Hoover, okay? And it was during a bad time of the economy. At the same time, you got to look at what the numbers say. So let me start off. They said another 200 years he could face, that he's got to serve here, okay? People, look at the math. 200 minus 365 equals 165. The 165th day of the year is June 14th. That's Donald J. Trump's birthday, okay? He's the one that commuted his sentence. But why? I think it's symbolic. He's speaking about himself. 200 years, 165 days left. Hello? How much time does Trump have left? That's my question. And that's what I think they're telling us, allegedly, okay? Now, they mix these stories together. Watch.
He was convicted of running a criminal enterprise, but Hoover's attorney says over the years Hoover has been rehabilitated and written numerous letters talking about his experience, how he turned to crime, and the good he can do in steering young people away from a similar fate.
He is being held because he is a symbol, not because he needs further incarceration or he hasn't been rehabilitated. He's been a model prisoner for many, many years. He's been examined. He has been determined to be no risk.
If Larry Hoover said there was going to be a killing, there was a killing. If Larry Hoover said there was going to be a beating, there was a beating. If Larry Hoover said there was going to be a drug deal, there was a drug deal.
Hoover's case has drawn the attention of a number of advocates and public figures, including Chance the Rapper and Kanye West. Hoover is currently serving time in Colorado, but with that state sentence, he'll likely be moved at some point to a prison in Illinois.
I
So,
don't
yeah.
really like committing to things.
The bottom line is, people, we'll have to wait and see, okay? Now, check this out. He was born November 30th, 1950. He's 74 years old. And he was apprehended, he was arrested 9/21/1973. Now, you guys who've been with me for a while, you understand 74. Okay, let me give you a little history of 74. America was born July 4th, 1776. July 4th. Is it symbolic for our country to be around after July 4th? Also, I want to show you a video. Okay, let me show you a video. It's in my short. I gotta
Of 1987.
pull it out of here. I'm gonna show you a connection of 74. It's one of the most unique videos that the Lord gave me in relation to 74. You see, because Donald Trump was 74 years old when he lost to Joe Biden. Do you understand? Trump was 74 years old when he lost to Biden. So let me bring this to you. Listen to this.
Explain to me how Joe Biden had 306 votes in Electoral College and Trump had 232. The difference was 74. And Trump just happened to be 74 years old at the time. Then when you convert 306 votes into a date, it comes out to November 2nd. And you convert 232 also into a date, that comes out to August 20th. Then when you take November 2nd, subtract it from August 20th, the difference is 74. Just like Trump was 74 years old. And the vote count of 306 versus 232, where Joe Biden beat Trump, the difference is 74. 74 votes, 74 days difference, and 74 years old. I'm French.
What are the odds, people? Do you understand why I'm looking at this another way? The man's 74 years old. He'll be 75 November 13th. Now, what you have to ask yourself again, America was founded July 4th, 1776. Is July 4th being talked about here? Because the 74 was all through in relation to Donald Trump. Do you understand? Because Trump was 74 years old when he got beat by Biden. And he lost by 74 points. So, you know, it's speaking. It's speaking. Trump lost by 74 votes when it came down to Electoral College. I think it's a dual message here. Trump commuting his sentence. Okay, but if he don't get out, what's the point? You see what I'm saying? Now check this out. 5/28, that's today's date of the announcement. What is 9/21? Well, 9/21 is when Hoover was captured. Anniversary is 2024. The difference is 250 days. What is 250, people? The 250th day of the year is September 7th. What is September 7th? Well, you got 250, right? You got 97. 97, September 7th is really 47, is it not? September 7th? September 7th. Oh, what I want you to understand is this. 250, 365. Let me do the math. Because I don't want to say this the wrong way either. 250, 365, 115. Okay, so everything's there. 97. What's the 97th day of the year Gregorian calendar? See that there? This is how they speak, people. You bring it down to the lowest denominator. It's April 7th. What is April 7th? That's 47. That's Trump. You see how they speak? Because they did it here also, allegedly. Remember when Kid Rock came to the White House? You see that 250 on his jacket? You see that 250? 250 is September 7th. That's 97. But the 97th day of the year is April 7th. 47 is him. Do you understand what they're doing now, allegedly? They're telling you something. They're telling you that the day Hoover was arrested versus the day that he just got his sentence commuted, it come out to 250. Well, who are they talking about? They're talking about Trump, allegedly. Now, let me break this thing down some more. Here's who else they was talking about, in my humble opinion. You see his name? Herbert Hoover. That's his birth date, but that's his death date. Is that date similar to who? October 20th. Watch this. Vice President Kamala Harris, birthday.
According to Wikipedia,
She got the same birthday as the death date of Herbert Hoover. It's deep, ain't it? Now let's go forward. Take 10/20/2024, subtract it from today, 5/28/2025. The difference is 7/11. Okay, or 7 months and 8 days. What's that? Trump is 78 years old. But let's go back to 7/11. Remember the video I did about a month ago where I talked about Trump said 9/11? He said 7/11 instead of 9/11. Remember how I broke that down? Back in the day, Trump was speaking and he said 7/11 instead of 9/11. I said it wasn't a Freudian slip. Okay, check it out. I want you to listen to this here.
You just made a mistake. Trust me, it wasn't a slip. And when you see these numbers, you're gonna scratch your head because they speak in simple future past. It's so. Okay, add into it what he, New York back. Watch this here.
I think what I want to do, just for a second, I wrote this out, and it's very close to my heart because I was down there, and I watched police and our firemen down in 7-Eleven, down at the World Trade Center, right and down. And I saw the greatest people I've ever seen in action. I saw the bravest people I've ever seen, including the construction workers, including every person down there. That's what New York values about. And I saw the greatest people I've ever seen in action. I saw the bravest people I've ever seen.
April 18th. Let's add something to this here. 4/18/2016. And I believe the election.
The date that he said this was 4/18 of 2016. Now watch this.
Was 11/8 of that year of 2016. When he beat the pants off of Hillary Clinton. Okay, so that was exactly 204 days. 204 days in between. Get rid of the 0, you got 24. 24 is X. It is the 24th letter of the alphabet, X. Isn't that something? 47. Now,
7-11 means 47. That's Trump. See how all this comes together? It's how they speak. This is how they speak, people. I don't want to go too long, but I want you to understand what I believe they're doing. They're talking about the former president. They're talking about what he said, 7-11, that sort of thing. And there's your 200 example. Like I said, they're saying Hoover still got another 200 years to serve. 200 minus 365 leaves you 165. And Trump's birthday is this, June 14th, the 165th day of the year. It's interwoven to me. Now check it out. 4/18/2025 is when Trump made that Freudian slip when he said 7-11 instead of 9-11. Subtracted from today, 5/28/2025. What's the difference? 5 weeks and 5 days. Who got killed at 55 years old? Julius Caesar. Do you understand? I believe they're talking about Trump. This whole situation. 4/18/2026, anniversary when he said 7-11 versus Trump's next birthday, 6/14/2025. The difference is 44. Who's the 44th president? Barack Obama. Is that coincidence? We're almost done. 9/21. 9/21 is when Hoover was captured for being a gangbanger. The anniversary is 2025. Subtracted from Kamala Harris' birthday and Herbert Hoover's birthday, 10/20/2024. Kamala Harris' birthday, but Herbert Hoover's death date, anniversary 2024. The difference is 11/01, 111. What is 111? Remember, on April 21st, the Pope died on the 111th day of the year, 111. Also, it's 48 weeks. What happened with 48 weeks? Well, we had an eclipse last year. On April 8th, there was an X that came across the world. J.D. Vance, the day before he saw the Pope, walked past an X. And the next day, the pontiff was died. I did a video on that. Now, last but not least, 5/28/2025, commuted sentence with Hoover versus what? 7/11/2025, play on words, gives you 44 days. Barack Obama's the 44th president. People, the powers have been known to scramble information. And this is one of those that they mixed this guy, Larry Hoover, allegedly with Herbert Hoover, the president, allegedly with Kamala Harris, because she has the same connection of October 20th. And what else we got? Donald J. Trump. It's crazy how they do it. Like I say, it's fallen angel AI technology. And I would be surprised if this man's getting out. Like I said,